Hello and welcome to the Jefferson Show. We have a guest in studio today and he will better introduce himself.
Wow, thank you very much. I find it very necessary being here today.
Okay.
I'm Yusuf Adam Sesay. I'm a modeling lawyer and a prospective graduate with an LLB degree in law.
An emerging lawyer, and today he's going to talk on the topic the law and the society.
Yeah.
So before we go further, what do you understand about the law and the society?
Yeah, it is quite necessary that we firstly understand what is law before trying to deep into what is a society. When we talk about law, it's basically a body of rule set up to regulate the behavior of people in the society. And when we talk about society, there's a community that comprises of people that have different beliefs and culture.
Okay, and next to that, so what do you know about law and let's say a civil law and a criminal law?
Yeah, it's great. Like, in as much as we are going to be discussing on the topic, the law in society,
Okay.
but it's also necessary that we'll be dwelling on the civil law and criminal law as a sub topic. So when you ask me what is the difference between civil law and criminal law, this is something that I found very prudent when it comes to our discussion. So basically, the difference between criminal law and civil law is this. For criminal law, there is a law that regulates the behavior of people between individuals and state. But for civil law, it has to regulate the behavior of people between individual and individual. So basically, that's the biggest difference when it comes to civil law and now the criminal law. One has to do with individual, and the other has to do with individual and state.
Okay, individuals in the state.
Yeah.
And I do believe that both law, which is the criminal law and the civil law, they both have sources. So what are those sources of law?
Yeah, basically when we talk about sources of law, we are trying to, look into the origin. What could be some of the origin of probably criminal law, civil law? We have to reference the constitution. We have to reference other international laws, conventions, and other treaties when it comes to agreement. So after that, we'll look into culture, we'll look into other custom. After custom, then we can be at, or we can see how best we look into precedents because these are all sources of law.
Okay, so you look into custom. So how custom law are derived? Custom law.
Yeah, for customary law, basically, is based on precedent. It has to do with the practices that have been in the society. But for customary law, often it's not written, yeah, as compared to what we have now of criminal law. For criminal law, basically, you should have a written guidelines or written statute that will be able to guide you as to how you can proceed within a criminal segment.
Is customary law like judging a current case by the prior case?
Yeah, basically for customary law, we look at precedents. Like this is one of the major things on a customary law precedent as opposed to that of criminal law. For criminal law, we don't really look into precedent because we already have a written a document that is guided by the principle of legality. Okay. Out of which on a criminal law we call it the principle of nullum crimen nulla pena sine lege. And that principle prescribes that when there is no crime, there should be no penalty. And when there is no penalty, there should be no crime. So, very law that has no written basis, so it's quite different.
So it's also the law of legality.
Yeah, the law of legality. Yeah.
That there is no punishment or act of crime.
Yeah, and when there's no crime, there should be no punishment.
So what about the retroactive principle?
Like when we talk about the retroactive principle, that's a very necessary principle in the criminal law system because that's a principle that tells us that when there is not a law at the time the crime was committed, there should be no punishment for it. Meaning the law cannot go back to situations that have occurred in the past. But often at times it's quite interesting for us to know that we have something in law called a high law and a soft law.
High law and soft law.
Yeah.
Okay.
The hard law is when the law is being reversed. Actually when law is being reversed, what happens? What happens when law is being reversed with age, right? They come in a hard form or a soft form.
Okay.
Meaning, either when this crime were 20 years, they will go to 25 years. So that is a high form. But when it is in a high form, the law does not become retroactive. But when it's in a soft form, that is, if the crime was previously 20 years, and then they reduce the term of that crime to like 10 years, yes, the soft law can be applied and it can definitely go into the retroactive form. So when we talk about retroactivity of law, like, it's something that we should really focus on, see how best we can understand it, because if you don't understand it, they will have something to do with the loopholes when it comes to understanding serious legality.
Okay, so that has also to do with mitigating circumstances and aggregating. Are they the same?
No, when we talk about mitigating circumstances and aggravating circumstances, they are quite different. Mitigating circumstances, these are circumstances that try to reduce the gravity of the crime. But for aggravating circumstances, that are circumstances that accelerate the gravity of the crime. So one there to reduce the level of punishment, while the other one there to increase the level of punishment.
So if I do plead guilty within the court, so is that mitigating circumstances?
No, when we talk about mitigating circumstances, it's not about pleading guilty or not pleading guilty. What we really look at is let's just say, for instance, Jefferson committed a crime, but has per the situation, Jefferson committed a crime to give back to charity, and that of Yusuf committed a crime to go and smoke probably
So it's an intention.
illegal substance. So we are looking at the intention, exactly.
Of the crime.
The intention of the crime. That is exactly what determines the mitigating and aggravating circumstances. And that is on criminal law, we call those things the mens real, actus real, and then that of even the moral element.
The material,
legal, and moral element.
We talked about criminal law, civil law. So why should we have all those laws within the society?
It's a very necessary question. The major reason why we should have those laws in society is because we want to regulate the behavior of people in society. You know and I know what exactly that when there is no law in society, people tend to do things out of way.
Okay.
People tend to just carry on activity that are unacceptable by society. In society, normally we have norms and we have laws. Norms, these are things that probably is not written or it's not, it does not have a legal backing, but it's against the social status of the society. While we have the crime. The crime setting, these are a portion that are written within the law that when you go against this, you'll be held liable for this. So, like, there's a huge gap difference between our norms and the law. And this is where social deviance comes from.
What do you mean by social deviance?
Yeah, when we talk about social deviance, these are people where, in as much as they are not committing crime, but they are not doing things that are accepted by the society. Let's take for example, in Rwanda currently we have homosexuality. Yeah, like the same sex activity, right? In as much as it's not written within the Rwandan penal code that it is a crime, but also the society does not accept it. So you who try to practice social culture, you become a social deviant because you are differing on the actual culture of the people.
Okay. So I have a question there.
Yeah.
You mentioned a penal code. So is there a difference between the penal code and the constitution?
Of course, there is a huge difference. The major difference between the penal code and now the constitution is that for the constitution is a supreme law.
Okay.
The constitution is exactly what gives birth to the penal code. The constitution is what determines the articles or the legal analysis as to how the penal code should be. So when you don't have within the constitution an article that prescribes or that provides that we should have an organic law that of which is the penal code, trust me, there will be no penal code. So this is why this principle exists that says, right, if we are to have a penal code or an organic law, the organic law should be done or written in conformity with the constitution. There should be no form of contradiction. Meaning, the organic law, that of which would be the penal law, should always be in alignment with the Constitution and all international conventions.
Okay, you keep giving me the ability to ask you more questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's necessary. Like,
Yes. I have a question there again. I always, let's say, hear people talking about article of incorporation.
Yeah, so
Can you?
in as much as like it's kind of little bit far topic, but we talk about article incorporation. These are legal documents that has to do with an organization, that has to do with the legal status of an organization. Yeah, article incorporation. Yeah.
The legal status.
Yeah, the legal status of an organization wherein it provides duties as to the purpose and objective of the organization. Yeah.
What do you know about the people of judicial independence?
The principle of judicial independence is quite interesting. That principle is very necessary. Yes. And that is exactly the principle that provides that there should be no form of interference when it comes to judicial activity. When I say interference, what do I mean? There where we come in with the principle of checks and balance, and that is the doctrine of separation of power. And then what it says? It says that we have three branches of government: the judiciary, the executive, the legislative. Okay. Those branches are separate and it has separate functions. The executive branch has its own functions, the judiciary branch has its own functions, and the executive branch has its own functions. So what does it tell us? It means we should ensure that we have independence among those three branches. When we say about independence, what we mean? We are trying to say the principle of judicial independence provides that the judicial branch will be independent and should not be interfered by any other branches. Okay. And this has been one of the major problems in our African society. Yeah, and this is one of the major problems. Major problem. It's a very huge problem. And it is a big problem because often within our African society, we see the executive branch influencing now the judiciary branch and even the legislative branch. And the judiciary branch should not in any way be interfered with any of those two branches that on the side. Why? Because if the executive or legislative branch influence the judiciary branch, what we understand and what we will see will be that a lot of people will shy away from the judiciary branch because it will lack competence. Okay. Yeah, there will be lack of trust within the judiciary branch. So this is why we should always work on seeing how best we can balance those three branches and ensure that its independence is secure.
Okay, can you tell us a bit about criminal procedure?
Yeah, when we talk about criminal procedure, is very necessary. That is one of the branches on criminal law. That we have two, and the first one is the substantive criminal law, and that of which disclose, right? It discloses has to relate to the punishment and the crime. It defines what is a crime and tells you exactly what is the punishment for that crime. That is one of the substantive criminal law. So for the criminal procedure law, there where it comes into say and provide those processes that involved in the criminal justice system. That there is a process wherein we start with search warrant, at time we go arrest, when arrest we begin investigation, from investigation we go to pre-trial, from pre-trial we go to trial, okay, until we can go to the competent jurisdiction, and now we is the court. And the court will render verdict as to whether the person is guilty or the person has been acquitted. And that power is only authorized by the court.
Okay, personally, you are a graduating senior. So, how do you see the legal system here compared to your country when it comes to maybe the educational sojourn, or I mean, anyway, the whole legal system? How do you see that?
Yeah, it's quite amazing to know that the two systems, they are amazing. They are quite good, especially for Rwanda. One of the major reasons is that exactly I referenced previously has to relate to out of the principle of the doctrine of separation of power, or the principle of check and balance. Okay. Is very necessary. In Rwanda, I've observed that the judiciary has its own independence, and that of which will make a lot of people in society to trust the judiciary. And when people start to trust the judiciary, there where justice is being administered. But often, when you notice that the judiciary does not have its own independence, people tend to shy away from the judiciary branch because they believe that when they go to court or they go and seek justice or redress, trust me, justice will not be administered unto them. So for that backdrop, you understand a lot of people in a society might say, I'm not going to court because if I go to court, that person is more powerful than me as per probably financial strength. So that would make the person be of an advantage to win the case ahead of me, in as much as you are not given a trial to the court. But that happens only because they don't have trust within the judiciary system.
Okay, so those are some reasons why people do not trust the legal system. You are doing a LLB. So what is the plan after LLB?
Oh, that's really cool. Like I have a lot of basic time.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot. Like already right. I have completed all courses as to relate to my LLB program.
Alright.
I'm looking forward to doing my master anytime from now, probably in international criminal law or international humanitarian law. As per the location.
Okay.
Yeah.
So lastly, what do you have to say to other people or students who are out there want to do law?
Yeah, all I can say to people who are aspiring to do more is to be passionate, because that's the first thing. Like for me as a person, that's the one. That is one of the major things I dwell on before pursuing my undergraduate degree in law. Because when you're not passionate about the legal field, trust me, before you even complete your semester, you want to go and do public accounting. Because for law is not a place where they joke. You have to be a very serious minded person when it comes to time management and other activities. So if you want to venture into law, you must first be passionate about it, and you should be someone who wants to give more time, someone that is very studious. Like, I encourage more people to venture into the legal field, right? Okay. Because often at times, back home in our home country, Liberia, we have had a kind of mindset that law is very tedious, it's very complicated, it's very complex. And the only reason we have that mindset is because in our country we have a lone law school. When I say a lone law school, I'm saying we have just one law school and now below it, African School of Law.
Yes, yes.
So that makes it very complicated for people to be enrolled at that institution. But trust me, law is a vibrant field, very open, and I encourage any young person to venture into.
Okay, he said law is a vibrant field and it is open to everyone. Do not be afraid. Just have the passion. So thank you for coming today and we hope to see you always on the show.
Yeah, welcome. Like I'm sure with the convention I will always be here because often the issues that we are going to be discussing, these are issues that are relevant to our society, especially for me being an academic. I will always love to discuss issue of legality because while discussing issue of legality, we learn through cross-pollinating of ideas, out of which would make me often appear on this platform. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. And I'm very hopeful we can hear very soon.
Okay, that was Yusu Adama Sesay, a graduating senior at the Unilag Law School. Thank you for today.